Hi everybody, I'm Gerald Labuskachny and welcome back to Zulu Alpha Firearms channel. We're again today at Tactical HQ in Fourways, and we're going to be looking at a gun that I'm really excited to do a 2-mag review on, and that is the Saiga 9. I've wanted to get my hands on one of these for a long time. I've never shot one before, so today's going to be my first time shooting it. This is definitely on my bucket list to buy one day. I'm really a big fan of PCCs for various reasons. They're nice to shoot, they're easy to shoot, the ammo's cheap, and of course nowadays there's a sporting category in South Africa that you can actually get these licensed on, but I'll discuss a bit more about that later. We do have some construction going on above us. It's out of our control, so if you hear a bit of drilling and other sounds that don't sound like they belong on a shooting range, just please bear with us. It's out of our control. So who or what exactly is Saiga? So you might have heard the name, but you're not quite sure where they fit in. So in August 2013, two Russian arm manufacturers, Ishmash, which many of you might know of, and Izhmek, I hope I'm pronouncing the second one correctly, merged to form what they call the Kalashnikov concern. Now they're actually responsible for about 95% of the small arms weaponry sold in Russia. And they also supply to 27 countries. They do small arms and they do a lot bigger types of weaponry and equipment for military purposes and policing purposes. But they have a civilian sort of division that does the sporting stuff, the normal civilian stuff, and that is the Saiga. So when you buy a Saiga, you're actually buying a Kalashnikov concern firearm. It's just, as I said, branded as Saiga because that's their sporting side. Kalashnikov concern is different to what you get Kalashnikov USA. And that's partly because of the laws in the United States, which are very confusing and complicated when it comes to firearms. But there is a ban in the USA on importing of foreign, specifically Russian, for example, firearms into the US. So to get around that, they started a company based in Florida called Kalashnikov USA, and they pretty much make the full spectrum of firearms that Kalashnikov Concern makes. But technically speaking, it's a different company made in the USA. And this firearm, what we call the Saiga 9, they call the KP9 in the USA. So in South Africa, though, we are able to get the Saiga 9. We don't have to get the KP9. So you're going to be looking at the Saiga in South Africa if you are purchasing one of these. And I've seen these for about the past 2 years in gun stores. But the Kalashnikov Concern also makes things, of course, the AK platform, the SKS, the Dragunov sniper rifle, Makarovs, what else do they make? And, of course, the Vityaz, which is the fully automatic version of this particular firearm. What's the history of the Vityaz, which is the fully auto version? About the 1990s, the Russian ministry wanted a firearm like this, a sort of a pistol caliber carbine. They didn't just want to stick a 9mm mag into an AK. Now, you can get AKs that do take 9mm or pistol caliber magazines. They're hideous, they're ugly. Do not buy one. People will laugh at you. This was kind of developed to be something built from the ground up to kind of fit into that sort of category. So it originally developed in the mid-90s. I think 1996 they had the first version of the earlier version of the Vityaz called the Bison. It had a drum magazine. Now, I'm not talking about those drum magazines like this, the sort of cake tin kind of magazines. I'm talking about a drum magazine like this, a tubular magazine. Really ugly, really hideous. Thank goodness they did away with that. Drum magazines never seem to be a good idea, no matter what. And then by about the 2000s, they reworked it, and production started in 2008 on the fully auto version of this, the Vityaz. So this is really a Vityaz, but in a semi-auto version. So who uses the Vityaz? The Russian Special Forces, I think, were the people who it was originally developed for. But I checked on the internet, and in fact, apparently the Namibian Marines actually use the Vityaz also. But like I said, here the civilian version in South Africa is known as the Saiga 9. It's 9mm, obviously, PCC. And it's very similar, as I said, to the Vityaz in basically all its form and function and interchangeability of parts, except for the fact this is a semi-auto. It is a direct blowback. Almost nothing is interchangeable, though, with the AK platform. Maybe, I think, the trigger grouping, but nothing else is. So while the AK is a gas-operated, obviously it's got the gas piston, etc., this is direct blowback. So it's more kind of like your good old-fashioned MP5, and all these weapons were checked for to make sure they're safe. The Uzi, the CZ Scorpion, which we did a review on a while back, are all direct blowback. In other words, when the projectile is discharged, it's the mere pressure of the gas that pushes that bolt back, and it's the weight of the bolt that slows it down enough to make sure that the projectile is out the barrel and the levels of gas are safe, and it then basically cycles the firearm. So very reliable system. As I said, it's been around in the Uzi and the MP5 for ages. So a very reliable type of system, although the AKs in general are a very reliable system. So direct blowback. It also means that the insides are different. It doesn't have that gas piston. This is not a gas block. This is not a gas tube. In fact, there's pretty much, I think, just part of the bolt that sticks out in here. So when you take the bolt out, which I'm not going to do because this one's been used a lot, it looks like an AK bolt, except it doesn't have that silver piston right at the end. And of course, the bolt itself is kind of formed with the whole carrier group. So there's no moving parts in that sense of the word. What else? So as I said, let's have a look at the gun. We have a threaded barrel. So what's nice is you can put a suppressor on this. A lot of the reviews that I've looked at have actually said that it's not fun to shoot with a suppressor because of the fact that it has a lot of sort of the gas blowback. So kind of like the SIG MPX, not necessarily the best and most fun to shoot with a suppressor, but it does come with threaded barrel. And as you can see, very, very easy to put on and off. As I said, so it looks AK-ish, but there is no gas block here because there's no gas going through. It's got just sort of AK style sight at the front. It has the typical AK style sights here, although it's set for 200 meters because obviously pistol caliber carbine ranges, you're not shooting out the distance you would on a 7.60 by 39. People say it's very accurate, pretty much up to your 100, 150 meter range, which is fine exactly for a PCC. I don't really think you'd need to be shooting at a much further distance. So the iron sights, reciprocating charging handle, which means, for those of you that don't know, every time you shoot, the charging handle moves back, but that's common for any other AK. If you used an R5 or the Galils, same principle. It's on the right hand side, so again you have to either do the sort of funky underneath cocking or cocking on the top. It does not have a last round bolt hold open, but again, neither does the typical AK system. Picatinny rail across here, so it's fantastic in terms of mounting like you see here. This is an aim point red dot sight or whatever sight you want to put on it. It does have a tiny piece of Picatinny on the front here, which I'm guessing, I don't know how practical it is, but you can put a torch or something else or you want it to put on there. The dust cover is a bit different in the sense it's not like an AK or an R5 where you take the whole dust cover off and it does hinge open, which is nice because it makes obviously this of a bit more of a stable platform. And typically with AKs, trying to get that dust cover back in, you have to know the magic Russian swear word, and the Russian gun fairies will allow you to put the dust cover back in. Here you don't have to worry about that. I'm not going to take this all out because this has been used a lot and perhaps not cleaned as much as one normally would like, so it's quite oily and greasy, so I'm not going to leave that. One problem that I've noticed some people speak about, though, not very common, that you might get a crack here on the dust cover. That's not going to cause catastrophic malfunction because it's really just the dust cover, but if it, just check that out if that is perhaps happening. The very nice sort of AK-74 style stock, if you want to call it that. Button here, very easy, press it in. Well, I say that now, of course, there you go. Very sturdy once it's out. And then it actually clips into place. I don't know how well you can see. We'll maybe have a picture later. There is a little hook that it hooks onto over here, which I think is just an extension of that pin that goes across. And it's in place, and it really is not going to move. I remember if you looked at the Scorpion review, if you shake it quite viciously, the stock flops around a bit, not terribly much. But this stays in place until you undo it, and it's incredibly sturdy once it's out. There's absolutely no movement. So a really nice platform. Looks very cool. I mean, it has kind of your MP5 kind of feel to it. As I said, here are the two next to each other. I'll put the magazine in. And that's what I like about it, because I love this. I can't afford this. This is like 60 grand nowadays, if you're lucky. But it's a nice package altogether. It really looks like a good and sexy gun. It's not, like, some of the AR styles, they stick a 9mm, make it an AR9. For me, that never looks great. This really does look like a nice gun. It's got your paddle release similar to the MP5. Pull it out, it doesn't really drop. No, so you probably are going to have to do the pull out. This particular magazine, while we're here, you do get a 30-round magazine when you buy this. This particular one is a puff gun magazine. They are proprietary magazines, so they're not interchangeable with other firearms. These are going for about the puff gun ones if you want to buy more. Anything from $400 to $600 I've seen on the internet here in South Africa. What's interesting, though, I contacted Kalashnikov USA, and they said that their KP9 magazines will not fit on a Saiga 9 or a Vitiaz. So just be careful if you are going to buy magazines, order them from overseas. If it's a KP9, the Kalashnikov USA, it might not fit. And that's directly from Kalashnikov USA, they told me that. AK style safety over here. It's only on the right-hand side, safe and fire, of course. So we're perhaps very familiar if you use the AK or the R5 or Galil, you'll be very familiar with that. Of course, the grip's a bit different than your standard AK, which is nice. I think it does complete the picture very well. Foregrip is great, no Picatinny under here, very comfortable. For me, who's a short guy, it's just a nice sized firearm, a lot of fun. So as I said, only problems, I couldn't find anybody who disliked the gun after shooting it. As I said, the one rare problem is a possible cracking over here at the dust cover. But nobody that I looked at countless reviews of this, and everybody just loves it, and I'm looking forward to shooting it now, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to love it even more after I have shot it. So we're going to have a shoot now. What we're using now is the STV Scorpio 9mm, obviously 8 grams, 124 grams full metal jacket that they do sell here at Tactical HQ. Going to shoot about 2 magazines out and tell you what I think afterwards, and then kind of close off with looking at how do you get this license in South Africa, and why would you want this? Great stuff. Alrighty, so I was hoping that my little mag up Lula loader for a pistol mag would work on this. It does not, so that's a bit sad. So you have to do the old-fashioned hand way. I don't know if there are mag loaders for it. Probably someone will have developed them. Interesting to note, I've seen a lot on the internet lately of non-mag up Lula brand of these particular same exact speed loaders. I think their patent must have expired because a lot of people are now making these. I bought a non-mag up Lula one the other day as a Christmas present for someone, and it works perfectly. Same thing and a lot cheaper. Righty, so I've loaded this up with 20 rounds. This is a puff gun magazine. It's not a Saiga one. And let's have a good go. It's quite a stiff mag load, as I said. It's on safe, going to put on fire. I don't know how people do that. That's just going to hurt. So, all right. Let's have some fun. Let's make some noise, as they say. Oh, geez, this is such a light recoil. I would almost. Trigger's not bad. I mean, it's a PCC. You're not going to get a sports trigger. I don't even think you can replace it with a sports trigger. Maybe someone will invent aftermarket parts. But I never worry too much about triggers. Okay, this red dot is definitely not shooting where I'm shooting. It's shooting consistently, but below. But that's a red dot sighting issue. It's really nice. It has a solid feel when you shoot it. Lovely little recoil. I'm not getting sort of, I can't feel any blowback in my face, but it's really, really nice. All right. My nose is a bit close to the dust cover, so that's one thing that perhaps for people who are longer armed might be a bit difficult. I do feel it a couple times was touching, not sore, but that's, you know, maybe I just got a big nose, I don't know. Okay, and a click because there's no last round bolt hold open. That's a lot of fun. I dare say, and I'm a big fan of the CZ Scorpion, I dare say that this might be even more fun to shoot than the Scorpion. And if this had been around when I was trying to buy my Scorpion, I actually probably would have gone for one of these, to be honest with you. I still like the Scorpion, and I would definitely want one at some point anyway. But this is just nice. This is really nice. All right. So that's the first 20 rounds. I can't think of anything I don't like. Like I said, my big nose bumped a little bit against here. That's not a big issue. I'm going to definitely say that aim point is off because my shots are nicely grouped. They're just at 9 o'clock as opposed to on the place where I was shooting. And as you know me, I never make it very challenging and shoot very far distances for targets. Oh, it's got a nice solid feel to it. This is worth it. So now we have our neighbor shooters. Just going to load up another 20, 15 maybe. 3, 4, 5. Very easy to load. 6. I haven't loaded up to 30, so maybe. But the 20 that I loaded was pretty easy. And I put, I think 15 or so in here. Yeah, I mean, one finger, it's done. Alrighty. Okay. So it's quite a stiff. You've got to really give it a bang. It doesn't click in like other mags do. I think the Scorpions are much easier in and out. Let me try I don't know how they do that. I'm going to just, no, I don't like that. Maybe there's a technique I got to learn, but honestly, just tilt the gun. Right, I'm going to go for the head. Yeah, again, I can feel my nose. Wouldn't put me off buying the gun, but that's, and I'm not sure about aftermarket stocks. I'm pretty sure somebody will at some point develop collapsible, side-folding, AR style stocks. But I mean, the stock itself is sturdy. I don't have a problem with that. I just think it's quite close. I just think it's quite close to the dust cover. Right, head again. And click, and we are out. Safe. A lot of fun. Yeah, I definitely have even a higher opinion of one of these, and I'm going to start saving or trading Bitcoin or something, because if you like PCCs, this is great fun. I mean, obviously you wouldn't use this for sports shooting in the sense of competitive sports. I don't think, like the Scorpion, you can change it out and put really fancy sports triggers and different bits and pieces. I don't really know how much you can do with this, but AKs, nowadays they do seem to be having more and more options for aftermarket parts that you can chop out and swap out, and etc. So what is this going for? Price-wise, here at Tactical HQ, this is selling for $28,999. So basically 29,000. You get one Saiga magazine. It's a 30 rounder, which is great, because obviously what's the point of anything less than 30 rounds, as opposed to the Scorpion, which was giving you 2 20 rounders, which for me is a waste of time and money. And as I said, the magazines are anything from $400 to $600 on the internet locally that I've seen them selling for. But of course, check your dealer for the prices that they have at the time. Today it's 27th of January 2021, and that's the price here. A couple of years ago, when I was looking at these, about 2 or 3 years ago, I was seeing them in the shops. A very good price would be 22, but your more typical price would have been about 25 to 27. So price hasn't really actually gone up that much. I would have expected nowadays, with inflation, COVID, and all that nonsense, prices we jacked up quite a lot. But this still seems to be, I think, I mean, yes, we'd all like guns cheaper, but not too much different compared to what it was a year or two ago. But shop around, but like I said, always check Tactical HQ. If you don't, you could be doing your pocket a disservice. Alrighty, that's a lot of fun. You really want to come and check out one of these just for the fun sake of it, if not looking into buying one. Okay, so how would you actually get this license in South Africa? Because that's typically the challenge. We already know licensing takes forever. So in South Africa, what you would do is you would be able to get this on a sports license. In other words, a Section 16 license. If you were a dedicated sports shooter, you had your endorsement letter and all the other necessary legal documentation. And the reason being is that about 2 years ago, South Africa, the Sporting Association seemed to have approved the PCC category in the sports shooting. So that's great. So before, these you couldn't really get these on easily. Now it's sports obtainable on a Section 16, and that's really fantastic. So I see a lot of club shoots, pistol or rifle shoots. They will often let you shoot your PCC. I have seen specific PCC shoots, and also at 3-gun, they'll very often let you use this also. So it's quite versatile if you want to use it for sports purposes. And there's lots of opportunities besides just going to the range and having fun with it. But for me, I like to use it at club shoots or sports shoots, proper sports shoots, because it's just more really getting into using the gun. The other option, of course, is if you are a collector and this fits into your collecting theme. Of course, that's a process on its own to get approved as a collector and to get your theme approved. Then you can do it. You couldn't get this on a Section 15 occasional sports. You will not be allowed to get that on that. So that's kind of what you limit to. Section 16 with the necessary documentation, or as a collector, and this fits into your theme. Of course, other options for companies are security companies. This is something nice. For example, if you have this, of course, your pistols will probably be 9mm. You're sticking with the same caliber of ammunition, which again makes it cheaper. You can buy a larger bulk ammunition. Because it's cheaper, of course, you can also go practicing more often. So your members in your company are more proficient with their firearms. Also, perhaps you don't want to be carrying a 5.56 in a built-up area, residential area. That round is going to travel much further and penetrate perhaps more than a 9mm round would. Yet you still want the feel of a bigger gun for the intimidation factor. Of course, it's longer sight radius, it's more stable platform to shoot because you've got the shoulder, the grip, and the foregrip, so it's better and comfortable to shoot something like this compared to a pistol under high stress situations. So definitely security companies could also start to look at something like this. Like I said, so it's cheaper, you can practice more often, a lot of fun. It's a good introduction firearm if you want to get people into bigger firearms, or even just firearms in general. Because it's 9mm, there really is almost no recoil on this. So that's really fun for younger shooters maybe, or perhaps ladies who want to perhaps test out bigger guns. This is really a nice one as an option, or just smaller framed people, that don't want to go for something like a 5.56 rifle that they feel is bigger. Now, I haven't compared the weights, so I can't tell you exactly what the weight difference is. But that's it. It's a hell of a lot of fun, and definitely I'm so glad that we are now able to get these in South Africa, and we'll probably be reviewing a few other PCCs in the near future. And of course, you're going to hopefully see a lot more of us in 2021. We slowed down towards the end of last year for various reasons. At the moment, we're all doing this for love and charity, so that sometimes real life gets in the way of making some of these videos. Definitely want to say again a thank you to Tactical HQ. This is a privately owned firearm by someone here at Tactical HQ. So we're not getting paid to do this review. We're not getting sponsored in any sense, besides they provide the ammunition and the space for us to use it, and they don't interfere with what we have to say about the guns. So that's a very nice way that we have arrangement that we have with Tactical HQ. So if you like what you're seeing here, please do click that like button for this particular video, click the subscribe button for the channel, but also click the little bell icon, and that will send you a little notification whenever we do actually have a new content put up on the site, and you'll get that immediately. So again, I'm Jared Labuskaghni for Zulu Alpha Firearms Channel, and as usual, be safe, be legal, and be responsible.